Well, hello everyone. This is Teresa Parker, and I'm your host of Area 58 Mysteries, and I'm back. I spent part of December, setting up a really good podcast. It didn't come to fruition. And then, like a week before Christmas, I got completely sick with some sort of weird flu as respiratory thing. And I gotta tell you, that didn't feel too good. I didn't feel too good at all. I didn't have COVID, but man, it actually lasted longer for me than COVID did when I got it. I'm still kind of coughing, so excuse me if I get a cough going, but I really shouldn't. If I think about it, I'll cough. So I'm not going to think about it. I wanted to jump on here. I know it's been a minute, but that illness zapped me down for a bit, but I wanted to come on and talk about something that happened here at the ranch. And because this is called Mysteries of Area 58, that's Mysteries of the Mojave. If you know anything about Area 58, I'm looking over there because that's where it's at. It's in the east from us. We're in the west side of the Antelope Valley, the far west side of the Mojave Valley. We're on what I call the toenails of the foothills. Anyway, we've had just tons of paranormal activity here at the ranch over the 20 years that we've lived here. I've seen all kinds of things I cannot explain, and if you go back to some of my other videos, you might see what I'm talking about. It's just very strange how this has all worked out for us here. Now, before coming to this ranch, I was into all things paranormal, of course. I love all that stuff. I love mysteries, In Search Of, back in the day. Heck, I remember as a kid, watching the Patty video, and, I'm like, whatever. I didn't have a thought in my head that said real, not real. Seriously, I didn't have any thought like that. I just took it in for what it was. And, maybe at the time I didn't even know what I was really looking at. Let's face it, the first videos that came out were so lousy that you were like, I'm not sure what I'm seeing, but okay, whatever, So that got me going. It got me going, and then I happened to meet someone probably about, I don't know how long he and I have been friends. But a friend of mine, anyway, it was probably a good 6-7 years, at least. I'm an actor too, and I happened to be in the same film as him, and we got to be friends. And he came out here to do some target shooting with me. I'm also an ex-cop, so I've done a lot of different things over my lifetime for professions. But he came over here, and at the end of it all, we were chit-chatting about ghosts and whatnot and junk that we'd seen here. And he said, I got a story for you. And then he said, I'll tell it to you sometime. It's about my experience with Bigfoot. And I've seen a Bigfoot, actually. Matter of factly, he just said. I'm like, what? You're not going to tell me later. You're going to tell me right away. So I made him. I'm like, dude, you got to give me the haps here. I want to know all the different details, right? And so he did. He had written something pretty contemporaneous to what had happened to him. And so it's just snowballed from there. I am nothing if not a curious human being. And it's so funny how things work out. But the people who used to live here actually saw a craft to the east, southeast of here, about quarter mile away. And same thing with now this is people that used to live here. This was their daughter. She saw a craft. She said it was round, full of lights, and hovering out here in the desert. This was in mid-95, and she basically said, I think she was the only one actually that saw it, because the way her window is situated and the way our guest room is situated, you could see right out into the desert there. And then our neighbor to the north, who no sense of humor whatsoever, they said they saw one too. It was on a different day, also within the same proximity of time in 95. So we've got got a friend who I believe wholeheartedly. That's why I believe in Bigfoot. I believed in Bigfoot before as a concept that there could be a North American primate running around that we don't know anything about. I mean, scientifically speaking, I should say. We all know it exists. And then I've had all kinds of paranormal activity inside and outside this house. And then we've got people who used to live here who saw a craft. Whether that craft was reverse engineered by our own government, I do not know. All I know is to the east of here is Edwards Air Force Base. So that sort of kind of gives you a little background of, my interests, how I got here. And now, when I see, feel, hear, whatever, paranormal activity, my ears perk up. I pay attention. I don't just dismiss it. I try to figure out what's really going on. That leads me to my story today. Sorry, roundabout, but this is how it happened. Okay, so about, I'd say 2 weeks ago, wasn't this past weekend, it was the one before, I went to an antique shop, and I have another channel of where I restore things. I'm not a prolific downloader or uploader, I should say, of these type of videos, but when I do something I'm really happy about, I'll put it on there. It's called Trustic Works, all one word, Trustic, Trustic Works. And I went to the antique shop, and I'm actually right now on the hunt for a Dutch oven, cast iron Dutch oven. And for me, the brand doesn't have to be, too great. I'm not one of those snobs that say it has to be a this or a that. I just want a really good Dutch oven. It's okay if it's old. I'll season it, clean it out, season it myself. That's not the problem. So I went there for that. And I walked around this corner and down the aisle a little bit. It's a pretty cool place. It's a pretty good sized floor that they have all this on. And so I walked down there, and immediately, I'm drawn to these wood levels. They're in like a crock or something, sitting up. So they're sitting long ways, not horizontal to the ground, perpendicular. And I looked at a couple of them, and then I saw this one. And it had initials carved in it, WCW. Pretty prominent, too. And I picked this piece up, and it just sort of spoke to me. I don't mean psychically. I just mean, my heart said, that's the one. I want to restore this. And that's how I do it. I just find something I really, really like, something I know I'll use, because I use everything I restore. One time or another, I'll use it. Anyway, so, and I have a lot of fun with it. So I take this, I buy this item for $18. I thought it was worth it. $20 bill, pretty cool. I'm going to get a lot of fun out of this thing. So I took it home, and because it's rather blustery and cold out here these days, for us anyway, I'm not in the Midwest or the Far East where everybody's getting socked in with this freezing ass cold weather and then snow. So we do get snow here. We definitely get snow. We're at 3,500 feet, or 3,200 feet. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, so I take it home and I start sanding it, and I take it all apart. And I have a video on Trustic Works if you'd like to see that. It was a lot of fun. And so I take it. The first thing I decide to do is I got to take it apart. So I take it out on my workbench, which is outside. And I'm, taking the screws out of the faceplate that is above the bubble. And it's kind of gunky. There's junk in the little straight flat head screwdriver screws. I hope you follow that. Just the slat ones. I'm getting the gunk out of that so I can undo it. And on the bench next to me. Now, first let me preface what I'm going to say by telling you that this bench is really heavy. I've got all kinds of really super heavy things on the bottom shelf below the bench. It's one of those cheap Harbor Freight workbenches. I got it from somebody who put it together. I paid $100. I think I got a deal because I think they're about $179 now. So anyway, that was Marketplace. Yay, Marketplace. So I'm attempting to take these screws out, and as I'm doing it, I just want you to know I'm not shaking the table. I am not shaking the table. I'm not touching anything that moves. So I'm sitting there doing this, and I'm working with this stuff, and there's some wood in behind, I should say in front of where I'm working, so many inches away, and there's a little teeny tiny little box, something I ordered, came in, and it just was sitting on the bench as I'm working away. And my mind is not on anything other than I want to get these screws out because, that's the next step in the restore process. I'm doing that. And the weirdest thing happened. I have three little pieces. There's some little pieces of wood, stuff I've worked with. I'll carve things. I like to make a mortar and pestles. I'll carve the pestles. I'll carve all kinds of stuff. Anyways, there's some wood in front of where I'm working. And the wood moves on its own. Now, I just want to say, I'm going to include this video because here's the crazy part, you guys. I got a GoPro for Christmas, and that's what I intended to use it for, was for stuff like this, or if I'm out in the field, in the woods or whatever, I'm going to have this GoPro on, right? But so I decided to experiment with it while doing this video. And so I have this GoPro, and it's pointed downward at what I'm doing, to some degree. And so I can show what I'm doing. I was totally off. I was like, my body was turned on. Anyway, I'll get better at it next time. But this time, I'm taking the video. I'm just strapped to my chest, and I'm undoing the screws. And all of a sudden, this one piece of wood moves. Now, if you say, lady, gravity, maybe. I'm not gonna argue with you. I won't. I truly won't. All I'm saying is it's unexplained at this point. It ends up moving that box because of the way it shifts. And it moves the box, and the box wiggles back and forth. Pretty good little wiggle. So I have the wood moving, and then it moves the box it's next to it. Must have been touching it, maybe. I stop what I'm doing. I saw what happened. And because there's such strange things that happen, around this place, it didn't like make me like fearful or scared or anything. I just stopped what I was doing. I shoved the box back where it was kind of out a little bit from where it was at. I pushed it back in, and then later on in the video, I stopped, and just like a few seconds later, I stopped, and I go, that just moved on its own. And I sort of sigh, and what are you going to do? I just kept working. So, as I said, I kept working. I often would sit in my front room with a big box, plastic box in front of me, container, and I would just sand while watching TV. It's kind of therapeutic, honestly. It's so much fun, and you get to see the beauty of the wood come out, and that was my intent, was to bring the wood beauty back out without taking the character out, that's my thing with restoring. I've restored so many things that others would just grind down and make it look brand new. What the hell is the purpose of that? No offense to them. I enjoy their videos and I do watch them. But for me, I don't know. I can't do it that way. I have to leave the character. That's the reason why I like it, because it's old. I just make it work again, as best to its ability and bring out the beauty. So that's what I was doing with this thing. So I got done with that project, and so beautiful, so beautiful. But in the middle of the project, I'm doing research because I want to know where this came from, what this piece is. I usually don't pick the same things twice because I do use, what I restore. So I don't want 14 levels. I don't want 14 little screwdrivers. I don't want, you don't get what I'm saying. I don't want a lot of them I'll do a couple, and especially if they're different. So anyway, so I get it done, and I'm putting the finishing touches on it, and I'm documenting whatnot, and so that part of it is finished. I go about my business a few days later. I would say about 4 days later, and it's evening time, and sitting out here in the front room next to the fire, and excuse me, crash, blang, clang, crash, boom, 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 boom. Sorry, that dum 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 was from this piece behind me. This sucker is old. It's from 1910, but the unit from all that background that I did, the patent is 1896. So they last about 15 years. So this thing is, we're talking under 1911, between 1896 and, if my math is right, it probably isn't, but yeah, I guess that's about right. Add 5 years to that. Yeah, 15. So, 15. So, it's old. This thing is old. And you could see that it had been used. You could also see that it had the bubble been replaced once. And in fact, I did do that. That was a new one for me. But anyway, my point is, circling back, this is an old thing that I took into my house. Okay, fast forward to the clash, clang, bang, boom. Okay, so I'm looking at the cupboard right now. I walk into the kitchen, and that's weird. How did that get there? There's an extremely large, heavy travel coffee mug on the ground, on the floor, in front of the sink. It had traveled out of the top shelf. Well, by the way, the shelf door, the cupboard door, wide open. We did not leave it wide open. We don't do that. We always shut them unless we're working in the moment. And the cup has come to rest in front of the sink, and it must have, this is what we're surmising, it must have came off the shelf somehow. That's the paranormal part. Come off the shelf somehow, hit the counter, and then rolled off. It's a coffee mug with a handle. I don't know how that, maybe it just sounded like it rolled off, but it sort of did, seemed like there was a little bit of a delay between the first clanging and the second, but it could have just rolled just right to where that handle didn't stop it. Anyway, I got a fuzzy here, which is driving me crazy. I got it. All right. No more driving me crazy. So, the shelf that it's on is way over my head. Not only is it over my head, but when I can reach it, not a problem, but I certainly can't see up into the shelf. But when I look up there, there's a couple of supplement pouches, like things like powders, and the cup is sitting in the middle. I'm going to add a little video of this too. I tried to debunk how the hell that thing came off the shelf. Here, we couldn't figure it out. I tried debunking, as I said. I'll show you the video, but how did that come? That's heavy. It's very heavy. It's been sitting up there for days. Was cleaned and been sitting up there for many days. The pouch, one of the pouches, the smaller pouch, had been placed up there between the side of the cupboard and another heavy bottom pouch. Next to that is this heavy travel mug. We don't know how it came off the shelf. And then long story short on that, that's a mystery. Couldn't debunk it. And I chalk it up to certainly possible paranormal activity, given everything else that we've experienced here. This is not a paranormal-free place. Let's just put it that way. We've seen ghosts and apparitions, and I've seen some crazy stuff out here. Anyhow, that weren't ghosts. One was an apparition, but anyway, just wild stuff, right? And you just keep chalking it up. Nobody around here is surprised anymore. So that aspect, along with the wood moving, had me thinking, is this something attached to this thing? I normally don't believe in that stuff. I actually don't. I mean, I think it's possible, certainly. I mean, I did before. I thought it was possible, but I never experienced something like that. And I'm not saying that's what's going on now, but it looks like it could be. I got to tell you, that's as I said, it's not surprising. But when you put two and two together, over a short period of time, you've brought something new in the house, you kind of do think in those terms. I try very, very hard not to jump to any conclusions. I'm just like, I try to be logical about it. Having been a cop before, doing a lot of investigations, I'm a pretty good critical thinker, I think. That's what kept me safe all those years. I just have no explanation as to how it happened. And I forgot my train of thought there. I apologize. Such an odd occurrence to happen in your house when things fall out of shelves. For one thing, the door shouldn't have been open. But second, this thing is so heavy. And if you stand by, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to cut this video, come right back. Stand by. Okay, here it is. This is the cup. You can see it's a very large travel mug. It's pretty heavy. It's a little top heavy. This is true. That's may have made it easier to push over or to fall over with something hitting it. But as I said, I did try to debunk that. I just could not. But at the end of the day, what do you guys think? I mean, I was extremely lucky to catch that first movement with the wood and then the box. But obviously nobody's in the front room checking this stuff out 24/7. So nobody saw it. Nobody witnessed it. We heard it, and it was loud. It came out of there. It didn't break anything. I'm surprised because it's some of the stuff on top is plastic. This feels like, to me, insulated metal, like aluminum maybe. I'm not really sure. I don't know what those things are made out of, but I don't think stuff like that should be falling out of shelves. Both things would have needed gravity to help them, of course, as with everything that falls or moves. I don't know. What do you guys think? While you're thinking, if you like my channel, would you please hit the like and please subscribe. I have some really good folks out there following me, and I want some more good folks following me, if you don't mind. I always say please and thank you because so many people out there want you to follow their page, but they always go, well, if I earned your like or if I earned your subscription, okay, well, if I did earn those things, please hit those buttons. And thank you so much. I'm very appreciative. I don't take none of that stuff for granted. Obviously I need you guys on here to post my material to. Otherwise, I'm sort of doing it for myself only. And I don't know. That's fun, right? That's a lot of fun. But that's the secondary thing. I want to share this stuff with you. So I guess we'll just come to a close here and leave all this where it's at, because when you say something is unexplained, that's exactly what it is. I'll never know. I will never know. I did actually consult with some folks. If you're into people that have psychic ability, I just happen to have some friends who are. Both, actually, I had 3 people I talked to. All 3 people said they thought whoever was here was male. It was here because, well, one of them said, actually, she said to me, did you bring anything new into the house? Why, yes, I did. And I tend to keep it here. And it's so funny because once we kind of had this paranormal activity, and we've done ghost hunting, a ton of it, I said out loud, okay, I know you're here, but and you're allowed to stay here if you want to stay. You just can't scare us. So I hope that made everything okay. We'll see. But back to the piece itself, the wood piece, the level. It's the initials on it were WCW. Now I made a funny when I made the video to put on my Trusted Works site page. I'm sorry, channel. Hello. And I said his name was, I named him William Charles Williamson, but because Willie Williamson was so redundant, he went by Chuck. And maybe he didn't like what I was, giving him, what name I was giving him. I don't know, but I hope I didn't hurt any feelings with that. I was really being, I'm gonna say one last thing on the wood level. I felt honored to work on it. And I'll tell you why, because this stuff it's never coming back. This wood is well over probably 120, 25 years old. I mean, wow. That's ancient. And all I did was just bring the beauty back, and hopefully whoever's it was, if he happens to be hanging out, he likes what I did. William Charles Williamson. I had the psychics tell me that they kind of saw this as what we saw it as, which was basically some sort of an attachment to this piece. But and then this activity over here kind of sealed it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I really do. I'm glad I'm back on here telling a good ghost story, or whatever it is, whatever the origin is. I don't know. I really don't know, and I never will. That's why they call them mysteries. If you'd like to send me your mystery story, I really would appreciate, guys. I really would. I'm at area58mysteries@gmail. Send me your story. I'll read it on air. I'll have fun doing it. And I will just be very appreciative if you do that. So, thank you so much for thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for living. If you weren't seeing this, you wouldn't be living. So, yes, I thank you for that. I'm just making a funny here, but I hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you like this video. I hope you subscribe, please and thank you. I hope you like this video, please and thank you, with a big thumbs up. And go to area58mysteries@gmail and send me your story. All right, you guys, we're off and running in the new year. Next month is my birthday, and I'm going to be in a casino town, and I'm going to be with my ghost hunters, our little group, and we're going to do a podcast right from the hotel. So I got that to look forward to, and I'm just sending this out for you guys to look for it next month. So thank you very much. I'm Teresa Parker, and you've been listening to Area 58 Mysteries. To you. That was weird. That thing just moved on its own. Heavy bottom. It's heavy and it's flat. This was sitting right here. Can't see that hitting that and then somehow knocking that over, which somehow knocked this over. And I gotta tell you, this thing is heavier than this, and this is not. It's just a small, skinny little packet, which she poked in here. I can't get that to fall over. I can't even get it to fall more than just wiggle. Okay, that's with me hitting the top hard. Still doesn't knock it over. That doesn't knock it over. Your guess is as good as mine. And then it landed, donk, on there, and then landed right somewhere around in here. It hit this counter, made a big noise. It was like a little lag time, and then I guess it rolled off or got pushed off, and there it landed. No reason for that to do what it did. This is not heavy. Crazy.